Alright, this video is on making your own dubbing. Something I highly recommend that you learn how to do. Dubbing can be a little intimidating when you start. I know I avoided it for a number of years, but now that I started doing it, it's one of the easiest things in the world. It's a lot of fun, and I think you should try it. So what you're going to need to start is a coffee grinder. Let me get this plugged in here. And beyond that, your materials are going to basically be yarn. There's all different types of yarn. You're going to want to buy a few different types. This is kind of a sparkly type yarn. And I think I got it maybe at Walmart, $1.25 a roll probably. And the stuff will last you forever. So your cost is going to be very minimal. So let me get a different type of yarn here. This is not as sparkly a yarn, it's probably cotton. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut about 2-3 foot worth off. And then I'm just going to start doubling it over on itself. And I will cut this end. And I'm going to start cutting pieces off of the end here. Now if you're going to make a real small fly, you don't want the length of your dubbing to be real long. So you're going to cut this at just under a ½ inch probably. If you're doing a bigger fly, you could do 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch, but that's getting a little big. Typically I'm just plus of ½ an inch. So start cutting these right around ½ an inch. Give or take, doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, I'll throw those away. Alright, once you get them in your grinder, you want to start pulsing it. If you just leave it on, you don't get quite as good a result. So you're just going to pulse it, and I also like to give it a good shake. Tends to help. And there, presto. You've got a nice dubbing. And typically what you're going to want to do is you're going to mix different colors together. You can also take some of this out, save it. And what a good idea is to do a bunch of green, do a bunch of black, some brown, some white, maybe some yellow, and just get a bunch of these clumps, and then you can pick and pull from different ones to get it a nice blend. Aside from just yarn, I like to use squirrel tail, especially for my crayfish flies. I'll add a little bit of yarn, it'll make the materials more manageable. If you just grind up squirrel tail, it's going to be really difficult to work with. So, and that's part of it. This is a nice fine kind of sticky yarn, and if you want to blend in, let's say some rabbit strips, some rabbit fur. Rabbit fur is a little difficult to work with by itself, so you'll blend it in with some yarn. And I'll use that green, and I'll cut some of this into it. Put that in there. Okay, so that's just going to change the look, the feel, the texture of your material a little bit. Now I'm going to take some black and brown that I've already mixed up, and I'll throw that in there. Okay, so that's what we got now. It's kind of a nice color. And you can always purchase some sparkle dub, some ice dub, or whatnot. And you just add a little bit of that. You don't need a lot. That was probably too much. But we'll roll with it. you go, you got some dubbing. And next I'm going to take you through how to tie with dubbing. So let's see, let's get a close-up shot of this stuff here. Let's see. Not very close. Okay. Try and take you through the loop now. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this, but I will give it a shot. Okay. Find a hook here. This looks like a size 6 saltwater hook. And I'm going to put some lead eyes on here real quick. Actually, I'm just going to do bead eyes. Get these on right in that general area. Okay. Now you're going to wind back to your tail section. This is just a fly I tie quite a bit actually. It's real good for the carp. So I'll run you through it anyway. Typically I'm going to use some type of turkey feather or something for the tail. In this case I'm going to go with some pheasant tail. No, actually I got some brown turkey here. Okay. Get our tail material on there. Alright, now here's where we're going to start the dubbing. It may seem a little tricky, but it's really not. Okay, so once you got your tail tied in and you're ready to start dubbing your body, what you're going to do, you're going to pull off about 5 or 6 inches on this fly. Right about there. Wrap it around your finger, take it back to the shank, wrap around 2-3 times, and then you're going to come over that at least once, maybe twice, and tie down again. Now wrap forward with your bobbin, your whatever, and what you're going to need here, and I can't find, okay, is a dubbing spinner. Now here I got a little El Cheapo dubbing spinner, which you can see here from the fly shop, and added a some sort of an air hose fitting to it and epoxied it together to give it some weight. You throw that on like that, and you grab your dubbing that we just made up. And what you're going to do is you're going to start feeding it in a little bit at a time. Okay, a little clump, another clump, and so on. Try to get it kind of evenly in there. Use your finger to spread the thread just a bit, and that looks okay. And what we're going to do, pull our finger out, and we'll start to spin it. Now, once you got a couple twists in there, you want to go through and kind of clean this up. Now, as you're tightening this, the fibers will be more and more locked in. So you want them a little bit locked in, but not too much when you clean it up. Okay, that's looking pretty decent. And the more you spin this, the tighter that rope will get. Now, the amount of dubbing you put in and how tight you spin your loop will determine the size of the body. So keep that in mind as you're working. You probably want to taper it a little at the back and a bit at the head. Once we get to the head, I'll do something a little special. Alright, so now that it's tight and it's pretty much in there, it's not falling out, we're going to wrap our body. Alright, once I get up towards the eye, what I'm going to do is I'm going to untwist this, and I'm going to remove a lot of the extra fiber here. It's going to allow me to wrap the eyes into the head here, and that looks pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the eyes, under, back through. Typically I would go to the front, but in this case I'm going to go down under one more time and then come to the front. Okay. So make a couple wraps with our thread to tie that off. And what I like to do is pull this back and make some more wraps. Then I'll cut this thread here. And I will finish my fly with some whip finishes. And if you've never done this by hand, 2 fingers, reach through and grab, bring under, twist. It takes a little practice, but if you don't have it already, you'll get it. Piece of cake. I'm going to make this look a little nicer here. Build that up just a hair. And then I'll whip finish again. And that is really it. Not much to it. Very easy. Gives you a great looking body on your fly. Fish can't resist it. Definitely, if you haven't tried this before, you want to. Now when you finish your fly, you can take a toothbrush and just brush some of those fibers out to give it a nice even look. If you want, you can trim the fly a little, but I typically, there's no need to trim it most of the time. And there you have it.